He'd clawed a tunnel near the heart of StarClan's lands that led deep into the place of no stars. No cat knew of it but him. Slowly, deliberately, he had begun to concentrate power into his own paws, but he still hadn't known how to reach into the living clans. Moons had passed, and all the time Ashfur's rage had grown, yet he'd swallowed it like bitter prey and waited. And then Misty Star had lost her first life, and Ashfur had at last seen a way to return to the lake. He'd watched the dying River Clan leader appear in StarClan, shimmering like a ghost among the star-specked warriors. Leopard Star had greeted her. Her clanmates had clustered around her, eager for a glimpse of their leader before she returned to the living clans to begin her next life. That was when Ashfur realized that while her soul was in StarClan, her body was defenseless. No more than flesh beneath a pelt, waiting only for a spirit to inhabit it. Finally, he knew how he could return to the living clans. Still pretending to be one of them, Ashfur persuaded the other StarClan cats to let him leave their hunting grounds and return to observe the clans by the lake, promising he would make sure they were staying true to their precious warrior code. Free from StarClan at last, he blocked his secret tunnel with weeds and branches. Soon the living clans were despairing over their lost connection with their ancestors and losing their faith in StarClan. The barrier grew stronger and thicker until StarClan's connection with the living was broken. Without StarClan's guidance, the Lake clans had been lost. How he'd enjoyed filling the Shadow Clan medicine cat apprentice's mind with fear. When Bramblestar had become sick, Ashfur had tricked the young mouse brain into making the ThunderClan leader sicker, and then Bramblestar had died in the snow. At last, Ashfur had found a way back. Undetected, like slow poison entering a wound, he'd slipped into Bramblestar's empty body. He'd shuddered as he did, repulsed by the sudden, unfamiliar restrictions of Bramblestar's ill-fitting pelt. But he'd ignored the discomfort. Finally, he was going to have everything that should have always been his. And yet, it had all gone wrong. The clans had changed, and Squirrelflight wasn't his mate. She was Bramblestar's. Her gentle purrs, her loving glances hadn't been for Ashfur, never for Ashfur. Her love had always been for Bramblestar. Rage rose now like bile in Ashfur's throat, almost choking him. He jerked his attention back to the clearing and glared at the yellow SkyClan warrior. Rootspring would pay for trying to stand in his way. Ashfur let his fury surge into the spirit cats, his thoughts exploding from their mouths in yowls of hate. "Claw his pelt off! Rip his ears!" Snowtuft lunged at Rootspring and, holding him down, drew bloody claw marks along the warrior's spine. Pleasure bubbled in Ashfur's chest. "I'm not cruel," he told himself. "This was all Squirrelflight's fault. She drove me to this. I only wanted the clans to see what hypocrites they are." It had been satisfying to turn them against each other. He'd watched as spite blossomed among the Lake clans as they tried to prove what good and loyal warriors they were. If nothing else, he looked forward to watching them realize they were no better than he was. But then Squirrelflight had faked her own death to escape him, and the living clans had turned against him. They'd betrayed him. He could do nothing but flee to the dark forest. He had allies here. Cats too mean or cruel to make it to StarClan. Since he'd blocked off StarClan, the spirits of dead cats who belonged there, but could no longer find their way, had also collected in the dark forest. He'd made sure they would fight for him as well, whether they wanted to or not. He'd thought he still had a chance. If he brought Squirrelflight here, he could make her see her clan in a new light, that they were nothing but a gang of murderous foxhearts
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.